Everybody.
I got my drinky poo.
That's exactly what she was saying before we came on. So I made us some tea, and we can talk about that a little bit too. I've got, if you see me looking over here, I've got my computer. I see you guys are saying hello and all kinds of good stuff over there too. And we'll check out those comments. Today has been a day, y'all. I have been running all day long, day long.
You haven't stopped hardly at all.
Not since the moment I got up.
Yeah.
Because like from the kitchen to right over there, everything's decluttered. I don't know if you came on Sunday. I do need to at some point tell you about they're like heating electric poncho things, and they're kind of awesome. They're Anna from Sunbeam sent them to me, and I put a link. You can find them at your local Walmart. I didn't put the online link on there because they were all sold out. But there's a battery pack, and it's kind of heavy, so it feels a little weighted, but what it is there's a battery pack in here, and there's heating elements and settings. It's all very, I don't know, fancy. So see, look, there's 4 settings.
And then the batteries are just like, little battery packs, and then you just charge them up, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of spectacular, I think.
So, and what's kind of funny is I had talked to Anna, because I was like, oh yeah, send them on. She goes, are you an affiliate at Walmart? And I'm like, no, but it's okay. Because I was like, this will be fun. Yeah. And then, like until today, the past few days have been really hot, and then it got cool again today. So I was like, yay.
And they're my favorite color.
I had asked for, Cheryl likes camo. And
because it has all the colors I like in it. Greens and blacks.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
I thought it was because you went on that wildlife photography thing and wore camo there.
I mean, that helps too, but I just like the colors. I like the pattern of camo. Okay. Like, I like the way the patterns are.
It just makes
me feel woodsy.
Okay. Because it makes me feel hunty, and that's why I don't like camouflage. So
I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as blending in with nature. Like when we were taking the pictures, we were all in camouflage, and we laid on the ground and set up against trees and waiting for animals to go by and took pictures of them. Yeah, and you took some really good pictures. Yeah, and Joanne said, I'm missing some of the beginning ones. I'll read them later. Joanne said, I moved from Southwest Florida to Southeast coastal Georgia. So does that mean you guys have a place for your hubby's boat nearby so that works out really well? And hey, Mona, it's good to see you. That means Joanne will be on the way now. Yeah. Joanne, you're going to be on our way to Florida. And Mona, I know you've told me you're in Savannah before, and I think I forgot. We've done a couple of vacations. Mona's on the way too. You got to go right past there too. And Helen says, hello, Helen. It's awesome to see you here. And Carrie. Oh, TS says, hi, all. Love the mugs. Oh, aren't they? They're just, that's they're Cheryl. Us. Well, and this one is the one that's from the Vegan Potter. So if you're looking for some vegan Christmas pottery, I highly recommend her. She's awesome. Mm-hmm. And everybody loves this mug because this was my signature photo for a while. Oh, thanks, Marilyn. I feel kind of cozy because Cheryl's turned it on medium, and it really is. It's radiating heat from the front. And it's kind of like a little plush blanket. It does weigh more, so it feels weighted in the front from probably where the little heating elements are. The only thing they say you can use it as a throw too. Yeah, I think that's why there's no sleeves or little Velcro. I was surprised that they didn't have snaps for sleeves. Because there's snaps down the front to wear it. I think snaps down the sleeves could be helpful, but I think you could stick some Velcro on there, but that would make it where you couldn't use it as a throw. Yeah. Use as a throw, wear as a cape, it says. It heats up in seconds, which I have to say, we've only had them on since just before we started live. And they're machine washable, which is good. Obviously
I haven't read any of the instructions, but I suspect you take the battery pack off.
Well, yeah.
But that means these parts that get warm are washable.
Yeah, but
So that's
the only
kinda
thing that kind of creeps me out, though, is that the connector for the battery then is still going to get wet. I don't know.
Here's the instructions. What does it say? Care and cleaning. Do not dry clean, do not bleach, do not use wringer, do not iron, do not immerse control or cord in water or other liquids. Before washing, disconnect battery pack. Carefully follow all washing instructions. Cold water, tumble dry low, remove while still damp. Yeah.
And it has 4 settings. It has warm, low, medium, and high. I have mine on I have both of them on medium right now.
And the battery life goes anywhere from 4 hours on the lowest setting warm to 2 hours on high. Yeah. I think this would be really cool. So like, I don't know about where you guys are, but sometimes we'll lose power in North Carolina if it ices, because that weighs the power lines down. And this would be good to have it kind of heated up. I mean, I don't think it would save you from sub-zero weather or anything, but I think it would be just cozy. I have been known, if the power goes out or when I lived in New York, to take all of my clothes and make a giant blanket and sleep under that.
Has a 3-year warranty on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Huh.
Okay, and Carrie says hi. Okay, let's see. Davinka says, I need one of those blankets. I had asked for one in gray, but we got 2 camouflage. And now I'm feeling better about the camouflage with Cheryl telling me things, but it's pretty awesome. I was also thinking too, because we have, Max is 11 now. And so I was thinking if he was kind of having a cranky day, we could probably turn on the heated blanket and put it on him, because I'm very much, let's don't put this in front of your face. I'm very much like my best job would be I cover up and tuck in dogs and cats. We even tuck in Fergus. He has a little bed and a really light throw. He lays on there, and then we tuck him in when we're on our way to the bedroom.
Yeah, he's funny. He'll go into the guest room and wait for his cookies, because both of them have to have cookies before they go to bed. And then he'll come out after eating his cookies, and he'll get in his bed and make his little biscuits, and then he'll look at you like, okay, you gonna cover me up or what?
This is all true. It sounds like it's made up, but we spoil everyone. Like, if I wake up in the middle of the night in the winter, Max will look over at you because he wants you to tuck him in again. It's just really bad. Hey, Betsy, and Daria says, I need a poncho to wear in my office. It was freezing today, and we're not supposed to have space heaters.
Oh, this would be perfect.
See, and then
this is actually perfect for that.
While you're at lunch, you can then because I like that it's a rechargeable battery and not just using a whole bunch.
Yeah, I never liked those things that you plugged in, because I always worried about them shorting out with electricity and stuff like that.
So she's talking about like kind of like there were, and I think these still exist, like electric blankets, but they're electric throws. And that is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
And Lydia says, I would need one of those. Yeah, they're kind of cool. Oh, electric Carabella. I'm so sorry. I just got home from Walmart. Wish I saw those. Ooh, they sell Zayed canned hummus that's oil-free and delicious. I've never had that. We'll have to make a note of that.
You have to make a Walmart run.
Yeah, these are pretty cool. Yeah, Cheryl's wild side. And I got your email, Diana. I'm just behind on email. We're like decluttering. I know some of you guys came and hung out with us on Sunday when I was like, did that area over there, and you got to see some of that. And Cheryl did the windows.
And I apologize, I don't remember the lady's name from Winston-Salem that was asking me some technical questions. I am not blowing you off. I just got really sucked into another project, and I haven't had a chance to get back and answer your email again, but I will be trying to do that tonight for you.
Yeah, and we're trying to declutter, and we talked about on Sunday, for those of you who weren't here, because we were saying, would anybody be interested in just hanging out with us, and maybe we can declutter together? We have 6 6 months of decluttering to do. So this is not something that, oh, we missed it.
Yeah, it might help us if we have a few boxes and we can just go through a few boxes and talk to you guys while we do it. It might make it easier for us.
Right.
And then also you might be able to help us make a decision on whether something goes or stays.
Yeah, so we'll see about that, or if there's some other things. Like one thing we did do, because we caught the chipmunk. I don't know if you know about the chipmunk saga, but the chipmunk was probably living at our house for 2 months.
Too long.
At least. And so I moved everything out of there. It was very cluttered and overdone. Took everything out of like cabinets and did it. And we found the chipmunk bathroom.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say about that. And then
luckily we have the ladybug, because I don't know what we would have done without the ladybug, because I don't know how we would have, disinfected.
I'm a little bit germophobic when it comes to stuff like that. And so, when we found it, of course, it was smelly. So she used a broom and then mopped no, you didn't mop at all. You just used the steam cleaner. But here's the weird thing. Okay, so the steam cleaner, you're just using the water and the minerals in the water clean. There's no cleanser, detergent, or anything like that, though you can add some.
No,
you don't add it to the water, but you can add it to your cleaning regime. So, but we didn't do that. But we thought we saw it and we're like, yep, I guess this is when we're going to have to do that. And she just ran it over, and then it just all of a sudden smelled clean. And it smelled nasty. Then it smelled clean, and it's from killing the microbes that cause the odor.
I zapped it with the hot vapor first, and then I went back after that. I went back and went over it with a steam mop. I did the steam mops too, so I got it twice because, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Chipmunk
kind of amazing. And then the windows are just sparkly. So there'll be more ladybug stuff as we get to our little part of doing it. And then I think what we're going to do too is then have Cheryl make a shorter video. So if people want to hang out in the live, great, or watch the beauty of hanging out in the live, or they can just watch it happen. Hey, Nancy.
I'm hoping by the end of the month we can get to the couch in the room of requirement and convert that from the dog couch to the human couch again.
Yeah, it was. We got that couch 11 years ago, and it's off-white. So we had a discussion.
I don't know what I was thinking. Don't know what I was
Because
thinking.
I was not happy with an off-white couch, and at that point, we weren't letting the dog on the couch. The dog slept in the bed with us, but I had
she was never interested in getting on the couch.
Yes,
really.
She was.
Not until we moved here.
No, yes, she was. The cat would be on the couch and she'd put her head. Look at us. No, she was very interested. And then Max is our neurotic little bunny, so we were just really trying to see what would
He's
soothe
our special
him.
muffin.
And Davinka says, I live in dark, gloomy Chicago. It's hard in Chicago in that area during the winter, for sure.
Yeah.
Do some cozy something, We were thinking too, and we'll see, we got some different lights, and we may try and do some lives from other places in the kitchen as we get some things cleaned up. But I was almost thinking if we get the living room done, maybe we could do like a Christmas Eve or Christmas from in front of the fireplace.
Oh, that would be fun.
That'd be very...
Yeah, we
can
could
wear
do that. What do you guys think? Fireside chat?
But for this, you don't know, I have the background for the cozy holiday chat is like a little fireplace with 3 cups of tea. And so...
one for each of us and one for them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, Betsy says maybe you should detour through Pennsylvania on your way to see everyone as you head to Florida.
That would be quite the detour. Like the opposite direction.
Oh, that's awesome. Let me see who the Facebook user is. Let's see if I can see that. Am I going to... See, now I'm just... You're supposed to be like... moving things along.
Oh,
Here,
I'm sorry.
Why don't you click and show some comments and talk so I can find... Here we go. Oh, it's Myra. Myra, welcome. Sith robes. Wow. She's got to get her lightsaber.
Yeah. Actually, today I got my pre-order dropped of the Disturbance in the Force.
Oh, tell them about, explain it
It's
to
a documentary about the 1978 fiasco that was the Star Wars Christmas special. Probably a lot of you are not even old enough to remember that. But those of us that were, 11 years old in 1978 thought that Star Wars was like everything and our world revolved around it. And so, I don't even think I remember how terrible it was until I saw it again as an adult and went, oh my God, this was horrible.
Well, and it's kind of interesting. I don't remember it, but I think I must have seen some of it. But it's like, it's gone down. That whole Star Wars holiday special has gone down as the absolute worst thing that ever hit TV. Because, I think most of us are old enough to remember, when there were holiday variety shows. That was a big thing for a few decades.
Well, and basically they tried to make a holiday variety show out of Star Wars, which didn't work very well at all.
No. Oh, Davinka says my granddaughter reads all the directions for everything. She's 7.
Oh, that's nice.
You got a smart cookie on your hands.
We need an instruction reader because both of us just go, oh, we can figure that out.
I read a lot of the instructions.
I don't know. I don't see you read many instructions when it comes to these appliances and stuff. You just bust them out and start working on them.
Well, it depends if I know how to use them or not. But there's certain things, like when I got the Beast, I started reading about the Beast.
That's true, you did.
And I'm hoping to get a little bit more caught up on my email and my life so that I can do some videos about the Beast. I'm going to do so many videos about the peel and dice Breville that I got.
She is so excited about that Breville peel and dice. She has done mashed potatoes 3 times now.
I have.
She's
and I peeled it. I peeled the potatoes in there, and it's really good. Also, last week I woke up and I had some really bad tendonitis in my thumb, which I've never had before. So I was getting
something new.
I went to the doctor even, which I never do the same day. I noticed something, but they're like, just take some ibuprofen, and it worked.
Yeah.
And I was like, but no, my thumb feels like it's going to fall off, and I'm usually a trooper. But because of that, I'm trying it. I did do a lot of knife tasks for the dehydrator class and some other stuff, so I cut up too much stuff. And
she also carried some heavy bags in from the car with groceries that she probably should not have.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm. She will take bags and just start loading them on her arm. She doesn't even care how heavy. She'll load them on her arm, and then she's trying to get into the house. Okay. And then she's like, I gotta hurry up because I'm gonna drop the bags.
Who else out in here it's one trip? If it can be made in one trip from the car to the door, it should be made in one trip.
But it's not necessary, because I don't care if I make 2 trips or more.
But that's why I leave you out to bring in all the stuff, because I can't stand to watch you take 17 trips. Which is really funny. Oh, Diana, that's hilarious. I can't see you because you're camouflaged. You just made Cheryl's whole night. And hey, Kelly's here, which is awesome. Monique from Canada got some electric blankets this year. And, I wore, over the pandemic, I had
this is surprisingly nice.
It really is.
It really
we
works
didn't try
nice.
it out before now because I didn't want to have any preconceived notions of it, but it feels
good.
I just have a t-shirt on, and I think we have the heat at a generous 63. And it's a cooler day.
And it feels like it's getting colder outside than it has the last few.
So you see how we have the windows back there? We have windows over here. We have top windows, and then we have two sliding glass doors. Boy, I made that into one word. And then a 3 kind of just like behind us over there. So like we are surrounded by windows. So in the winter, when it even starts to drop a little bit, you can really
feel like
there's
the cold.
a fireplace over there, a gas fireplace that we use some, but it's also been dropping like 30 degrees. So like it was 70 degrees one day and 30 degrees that night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm done. It's too crazy.
Mm-hmm. Joanna
says, I'm a major pet spoiler.
Yep.
That's why pets were brought into my world.
Yep.
I love spoiling them. I know.
We do too.
Like, I'll give little doggy massages. And with Brenna, as she was getting older, she was a lab plot hound mix.
Yeah.
But she
just looked like a big black lab, but she was brindle.
Shorter legs. So she wasn't she was like a giant Dachshund. So like
she was bigger than that. She weighed 80 pounds, y'all.
Well, at one point she weighed 90, but I mean she was long and her legs were proportionally
short.
Were like you could tell her growth got stunted a little bit. But because of that, sometimes her joints would hurt. So after I would walk, I'd hold it and I'd do all this like assisted yoga with her.
Yeah.
She loved it though. She was like, this leg.
Yeah. Y'all would have loved Brenna. She was a sweetheart.
She's really, really sweet.
We miss her a lot.
She passed in 2019. Oh, Carlene, hey. And why am I saying Carlene when I mean to say
Hydron.
German is hard, y'all.
It is hard.
That's all I have to say. But Hydron, it's delightful to see you as always. Diana says it would be fun to have a Zoom call where we can see and talk. The only thing is, we could maybe do something like that for like 30 minutes. We definitely couldn't do it for the whole time because I have a free Zoom account, so we get 40 minutes. It is not off the table, and we'll talk more this month, but I'm also trying to think of some different things that maybe we could all do as far as like, what kind of stuff do you want from us? We've talked about like maybe some support group sort of thing, or I don't know. Today my brain may be too dead to think about it, but if you guys have something you're like, oh, I wish you would do this or that, put it out and let's see what we can do. Some things would have a fee associated with them and some won't, just like everything else. So, but we could talk about that, and obviously, as per usual, if you're in financial straits or on a fixed income, there'll be some scholarships and partial scholarship options no matter what we do. We do that with everything.
Yeah. Zoom is actually kind of ridiculously expensive for what it is.
I hate Zoom. I was on Zoom earlier today for an hour and a half, and I hate it. But now here's the other thing though, that in the Heartbeat group, and if you guys go into the description below this, there's a link to join the Heartbeat group. There's a link to get the spice blends and get on my mailing list where you find out about all the things ahead of time usually. But in the Heartbeat group, there is kind of a video thing that we can do. I haven't really experimented with it, but we could try something like that. So you guys make sure to go over and join the Heartbeat group. When you do join, it's free. So this is a free group. And just for taking the time to go over there and join, you get a free class. So there's a link in there that says how to sign up for your free class. And it's a free pre-recorded cooking class.
Which class is it? I forget.
I have no idea today. My brain's I've been doing a lot of things, but it's right there. I think it's Too Tired to Cook.
Yeah, it's the
which
Too
would be
Tired to Cook
perfect for me tonight.
Yeah, I'm too tired to cook too, so I don't know what we're gonna do.
We have food in the fridge.
I know.
Davinka says, are you familiar with Marie Kondo about decluttering and make the decision to keep or give away? Yes, and in fact, it resonates with me a lot because we talked about this before, but it's like, I feel like the things tell me what they want. Like, I don't want to be in this place. I want to be in that place. But sometimes it's also like, oh, it's time to give away. And in fact, we're giving away a bunch of stuff. And Thursday night at Sitar in Durham, North Carolina, if you're nearby, they're doing the Indian Vegan Buffet. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be there with a bunch of our friends from the Plant-Based Pod. Mm-hmm. So if you're there, come say hi. Yep. So Video 1000 Night says, do you like adding spices to the Instant Pot at start or just at end for starches? It varies recipe to recipe. So what I usually do is I will add them in the beginning. So if I'm sauteing onions and maybe adding in some cumin and coriander, the heat kind of activates them or makes them blossom. So it's good to have that. However, when you're Instant Potting or slow cooking, the cooking process can dull those flavors. So you always see it. I have a slow cooker and a bunch of spices, and I don't put my spices away until after I've tasted, reseasoned, and served. Mm-hmm. So I think they need to typically be done both times if you really want to get a good quality product. Also, my cumin is going to taste weaker as time goes on. Mm-hmm. Or did I make that recipe with new cumin or old cumin? So you always kind of have to futz with it a little bit. Mm-hmm. TS says, I have a problem with clutter. Living in the house I grew up with, so I have my parents' furniture, grandparents' furniture, and mine. Need to get rid of stuff, but memories get in the way.
Yeah, that's hard. I think that's what happens with us with a lot of stuff too.
It's true, and it is.
Because when we moved in here, my parents moved from a house on the coast to. That was a vacation home for them at that point in time, to Florida. And so when that house was fully furnished and everything, so everything that was in that house, they sent home with us. And so then we
had just cleared out the downstairs.
We had just got everything cleaned up.
We've never been able, I think maybe once for a couple of weeks, we sort of used the downstairs den.
Because it's like every time we get it cleaned out, then
more stuff comes.
It's like this magical room of requirement where other people require it, and we always putting stuff down in there. So this time, it's going to be our TV room.
That's what we're hoping, because since we live in a split level and downstairs there, it's actually in the hill. So no, it's not. That's the other part. But it's
the outside. It
is the outside
part. It's like a walk. So for people who live up north, you would call it a walkout, I believe, where you have a downstairs basement type area that has doors that sliding doors or something, and you can walk out onto a patio or whatever. That's what we have downstairs.
Yeah, and it is. And I totally made it into the guest room in my head. I don't know why I did that. But anyhow, even just because it's downstairs, it's much cooler in the summer.
Much cooler.
Yeah, and so it would be a really nice place to be there. I love our open upstairs and how it is. But at night, when the temperature drops and it gets very cold, in the 20s or teens, which it doesn't do often, it's just really cold up here. Yeah. And that's when Cheryl starts talking about wanting to put curtains on all the windows. And I'm not living that life. So for me, I noticed I stopped having seasonal affective disorder when we moved to this house. Yeah. And it's simply because I see evergreens.
Yeah, everywhere you look out, every window you can see greenery. So
and it's really
great. We live in the woods, but not really.
Yeah, and it's Jane, and she said thanks, Cheryl.
Yep.
About as far as she has eCam. So, and
great.
Another thing too, if some of you guys are interested, I just presented about doing video. Oh, I'm hot now. I think I need to turn it down.
You can show the little thing.
How do I keep pressing it?
Yeah, just press that, and then it's off. Now you got low, and then.
Let's try low.
Okay. I'm digging.
I think it's between the teeth. Can you guys see? Am I a little red? I went, whew. But
I'm digging the warm, actually, because my little arms are naked.
We have T-shirts on. That seems so not PG. Um, but if people are interested in video stuff, I just spoke with another, like a blogger group about it too. If I get enough feedback, I might do something like a group again. I did some stuff in 2020 and 2021. Right now I'm not doing much. I do consults every once in a while. Most of you are not interested in this, and that is great. We will not talk about it any further. But if you are, email support@healthyslowcooking.com and talk to Cheryl, and then we'll see if we can put together a group or a class or something. And without that kind of push, I'm probably not going to do it. Lydia says, I'd love decluttering videos. It would be motivating. And Helen likes it too.
Cool.
YRS, Fireside Chat. What is YRS? What does YRS mean, Mona? Skyward says that would be fun. A fireside chat. Oh, yes. She meant yes.
Yes.
Fireside chat. Sorry, Mona.
Our brains are a little like, eh.
I have literally, like, we did a 2-hour
live demo
before this. We just had like a half an hour in between.
You were in meetings this morning.
I was in meetings this morning, and then yesterday I was in like 6 to 7 hours worth of meetings. So
yesterday I had such a rough day at work. Like from the moment I got up until like 6 o'clock at night, my head was just buried into my work computer, and I didn't get anything else done.
I like that. Davika says the sun is always shining. We can just see it at the moment. And that's great. Oh, Debbie says she sat for 3.5 hours today working on organizing craft items. That's awesome. Joanne says fireside chat. Yeah, hopefully we'll see if I can't do this. And we might do it on Christmas Day or something. Also, are there other holidays that you guys want some company for? Because I don't know all the holidays. I know winter solstice. That is my holiday. But I know all the advertising tells me all about the Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. And then we celebrated Christmas Eve at our house. We used to have oyster stew, and I've made a mushroom stew. So I was thinking, we'll see if I've got some mushrooms to grow. Maybe we'll make oyster mushroom stew.
I don't know how I recreate any of my family's memory foods. Like
Ask me.
When we went to my Polish grandmother's house, we had kielbasa and ham and mashed potatoes. No, most of the time she made mashed potatoes, but most of the time I ate macaroni salad with that.
Well, you know we've made all these.
I know I can make the macaroni salad, but
we eat mashed potatoes all the time.
And the mashed potatoes, yeah, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, there was something special about the smells and stuff,
Yeah,
but when you were cooking that cabbage and stuff that day, remember I said it kind of smelled like my grandmother's house.
We can totally do some Polish stuff. That would be great. I have a Polish sausage spice, and we could even, if nothing else, do like rice and lentil patties with that spice.
And then at my other grandmother's house, we usually always had just a turkey. We'd had turkey. And then she would have her stuffing. And then I think she made cornbread stuffing for somebody that my grandmother would make. Whoever liked what, she would make it whatever you like. Like no one else, none of the other kids liked chocolate chip cookies with nuts in them, but me. So when she was making cookies, whatever cookie was your favorite, she always made everybody a batch of their own so that they had them.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, and the same thing with like pies and stuff like that. Like I liked coconut cream pie, and my grandfather liked coconut cream pie, but the only other person who would eat was my Aunt Renee. So we always had a whole pie to ourselves, and then everybody else had to fight over all the other stuff because nobody else would eat that, right?
Yeah, well, we're not making that many pies, but we'll make something.
Just memory stuff,
I know. Electric Carabella says, my friends host dinner parties themed around that Christmas special.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good idea, because we did a vegan fondue party.
Yeah, that was fun.
And this was at the old house, so we actually got one of those like super cheesy electric fireplace things that
like the foil that spun around on the thing.
Yeah, like it was awesome. And then we all got some thrifted clothes, and I've got 2 amazing fondue sets actually. Yeah. But that would be great to do that. Karen says between today and tomorrow, it's the shortest evening time of the year. By Christmas, it will be 6 minutes lighter than today.
Today did get really, really dark fast. It was like
fast.
It was before 4 o'clock where it was starting to seem dark.
I thought winter solstice was supposed to be the shortest day of the year, 2023. Yeah, December 21st, I think, is the shortest day in the Northern Hemisphere midwinter day. And it is 7 hours and 14 minutes of daylight. I don't know where they're measuring that from. Northern Hemisphere sounds bigger than my brain.
Yeah.
For sure.
Maybe that they mean like way up.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could be. It's too dark for me now.
That camera is only focusing on one of us at a time.
Well, I think it'll be okay.
Okay. I just don't want you to be blurry.
Maybe it's just the way it's going to be.
Okay.
I don't know. All right. Debbie says, I can totally relate what you're going through. I bought my mom's house from the estate, and I brought a 4-bedroom house into a 4-bedroom house fully furnished to sell the house. Couldn't move. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Video 1,000 Nights. What do you suggest for immersion blenders, if anything, for the Instant Pot? For the Instant Pot, for slow cooker, pureeing soups. Even if you made like a corn chowder, a lot of times what I'll do to thicken it is throw an immersion blender in there for a few seconds. Thicken, mash up some of the potato and corn and go along. I got a new immersion blender, and I have one that has a little food processor so that you could just like chop up a cup of mushrooms or something like that really easily.
What was it, Cuisinart?
Yeah, from Costco, and it wasn't very expensive.
No, it was on super sale, I think, for like, wasn't it like $29 or $39 or something like that?
Hey, Angela from Boomer and Beyond Wellness. We have missed you very much, and I know I'm behind on emails to you, and I sincerely apologize. I had kind of a rough month, and I'm pulling it back together, but I'm trying also not to overwhelm myself because doesn't help anybody. Yeah. So just know, if you've emailed me, if you want to email me again, that's fine too. I've saved a lot of emails to go back to.
Yes, me too. If I missed your email, please, because we've been super like crazy doing stuff. And
we're trying to catch up on stuff, and I kind of feel like a tsunami of 2020 is kind of washing over everything, and we're just kind of finally coming up for air, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Carrie says, do you use a rice cooker? I ordered a fancy Zarushi and hope it's worth the price. I have heard nothing but amazing things about it.
I almost pulled the trigger on one 2 days ago.
And so we were using the VitaClay one, but something at the top is starting to melt, and the plastic part, and
it's like overheating or something.
Something's not right.
Yeah.
And I was this close to putting it by the trash, and then I didn't pull the trigger. So talking about decluttering and stuff. So
it needs to go in the trash.
It needs to go, because we had broken the clay pot that goes inside. So we just spent a lot of money, enough that we could have bought a rice cooker on that clay insert. And so I could theoretically we could give that insert away or cook with it in the oven, which I'm never going to do. So I'm going to give it away. But I love a rice cooker. And in the same breath, there is nothing wrong with cooking rice in your Instant Pot either.
This is what she keeps telling me. But I don't know. It's kind of, I haven't made any in So you know how I was trying to make rice every day because it was easy for me with the rice cooker. I knew what I was doing and I was confident with the rice cooker, and so I was making rice for us. And when we'd run out, I'd make more. And you know what? We've been all kind of topsy-turvy the past week and a half because when that thing broke, now I haven't been making rice and stuff, so now we don't have any rice in the fridge, and I'm like really feeling that right now.
We'll make some rice. And I've got lots of one-trip people.
I just
you know, if you can keep moving forward, you're doing fine.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna hurt yourself with all that.
Oh, and Claudia has a Fuzzy Logic Zorushi that's 30 years old, still works great, doesn't have all the fancier buttons the new ones have, and most of the time you don't need them.
Yeah.
On almost all the appliances. If you have an Instant Pot Duo, it doesn't matter that one came out with a cake setting. It's just using the pressure cooker setting for an exact amount of time, and you can click pressure cook in that amount of time. Mm-hmm. Joanne Johnson says, agreed, we'll carry 19 bags rather than make a second
This
trip.
is her. Like, she will, like, just like, she'll be standing there, just load me up, load me up. I'm like, you're going to get hurt.
Dominga says she would freeze at 63. I've gotten better. Like, Cheryl, it might even be 65 now. But, like, if it gets really cold and
I turned it down to 62 last night, I think.
Yeah, I like sleeping when it's cool. But it just depends on everything for me. But yeah, no, I like to keep it like an ice box. And I'd rather just wear clothes. Like Cheryl used to be like, turn the heat up. And I'm like, you've got a tank top on.
I was like, you
do
could
your
hang meat in
due diligence. Due diligence, then we turn the heat up. And Debbie asks, if anyone wants to come to West New York, help me declutter my house, please. Aww. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's terrible.
I'm so sorry. Debbie, that just breaks my heart.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That she was robbed by a house sitter. That's just, And Jess Ann says, eating a bowl of potatoes and veggies topped with Kathy's oat queso. Oh my God, my favorite cheese sauce. Yay.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, we can make some oat queso when we get off here.
Could be good.
And if you're like, oat queso, what is she talking about? You can get the recipe on healthyslowcooking.com. Just look up queso. And
see, there's somebody got a little fold-up cart like yours. Remember our little bin store carts? Those little fold-up wagons.
Oh, that's a really great idea. And we have steps into the foyer and then half a flight of stairs to come up or down. So, yeah. And hello to you from from Durham, North Carolina. You from Napa, California. Goodness gracious. Oh, Mary says it's 82 here in Tucson today. Goodness gracious.
Wow.
Liddy says I have a Dachshund and he needs constant attention. They all, Hydran. See, when I see your name, it's easy, but then when I spell it kind of weird ways in my head.
When she does, she just tries to make you into a Marvel character or something. So.
Well, you kind of are like one. I can imagine that Hydran would come to my house and be like, look around. No. And then then there would be like a 8-step plan, and 2 hours later, everything would be perfect. Because she's so efficient, and she's so kind, too.
She would be backing up a pickup truck to take all that to a
like,
consignment store.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Actually, Hydran, do you want to drive down here?
You can have it all.
Because I was starting a food photography prop business right before 2020. And before I realized I really hate making Etsy descriptions.
Etsy's descriptions are ridiculous.
So it wasn't a good thing. So like literally we've already given away probably a van's worth, and we probably have another van's worth of a lot of it's like vintage dishes, glasses, and things like that. Yeah. So if you know you're looking for something, Hydran, just let me know.
We might have one.
We might be able to mail you some stuff or meet halfway if we're coming back in.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, there were so many things that were in that storage unit that, we got rid of all that, but there's still like a whole storage unit worth of stuff here. And it's all on like shelves in her office. It's like organized by plates and
well, it's for
bowls
like all the cookbooks and stuff like that I had to do.
Yeah, she doesn't use the same props for anything.
Well, some things are going to change with that. I'm going to keep all my pottery though.
Yeah, I think the pottery looks the best in the pictures though, honestly.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
That's interesting. What about Microsoft Teams? I would have no idea how to use that, but we could do something in Heartbeat. That would probably be the best thing. Gina says, I need that blanket in Detroit. I bought my daughter a creamy for Christmas, and I realized yesterday she sent me a picture of all the ice cream she's been making. It's not Christmas yet. Yeah. Oh, Serenity Bloom says, Andrew says the Holy Trinity is like with like, one in, one out, and a place for everything. Next year around summertime, I will be in your neck of the woods. I will be by to help you. Hopefully we'll
we should be done by then.
And if we are, you can come hang out for a little while. Or we can go meet out for dinner or something like that. Fiction Kitchen should be open, but there's some other cool places. And yes, walkout is what they would call it. Hi, Dilla. It's awesome to see you, as always. You know, once things get cleaned up, I would be willing to give you a house tour. Now I would just be filled with shame and embarrassment.
You could show them what we've done already.
Yeah, let's wait until we can... Okay, so I've got the living room, then there's kind of a window seat in between, and then the dining room, window seat in between, and the living room. So give me a little more time to get that part done, and then we'll show you the upstairs at least. Not my office.
We actually we worked really well together the other day when we were cleaning up after the chipmunk and everything, and while we were, going through everything and decluttering to clean up, Kathy actually had this great idea to move this one cabinet that we've just had in this one spot this whole time. And I would have never even dreamed of moving it over here, but actually it's like perfect over here.
It is. So that's the thing, that's where I feel like the Marie Kondo stuff kind of, because
and the little shelf you put on the end down there for all your jars of stuff.
All the stuff
it's like
I dehydrated for the dehydrator class. But the Marie Kondo stuff comes from Shinto, which is a Japanese religion, and it's kind of like everything kind of has a spirit. And so I do feel like that when I'm cleaning.
Is she the does it bring you joy lady?
Yeah.
See, but that's my problem, is so much brings me joy. Stuff that I don't always, I haven't seen in like a year, I'll pull it out and be like, oh, but I still really like that. So I need to get, especially with electronic stuff and games and stuff, I need to just get it in my head that there's been new technology that replaces this. So you need to let the old technology go and just move forward with the new technology.
Yeah, and it's a process. We've done one sliver. And we feel good about that. Hey, Apple. Apple's in a Zoom meeting, but sneaking in here to say hello. You're so sweet. Video 1000 Nights. If your rice comes out soupy in an Instant Pot, too much water, is there a way to recover it or just eat it wet? I would take the top off and leave it on warm and let some of that evaporate. It depends on how wet. It's a little bit of it too. But typically what I do with rice is, for 1 cup of rice, I do 1 1/4 cup water. If you're doing it in the Instant Pot, that works really well to let it at least naturally pressure release, meaning don't touch it for 10 minutes. Then you can completely release the pressure. Some people do a 1-to-1 ratio. They wash their rice really good and do a 1-to-1 ratio, which is not a 1-to-1 anymore because some water is still in the grain. So that's why you'll see different times and different things. But that's what I would do. And if it's really, really wet, you could probably turn it on low saute. However, if it's not that wet, it's going to burn on the bottom. So leaving it on warm would be good. Dilla's saying, how's the starch solution going?
It's good.
Yeah.
Like I've had a few bad things that have happened to me where I haven't been so good. I'm just gonna come clean.
Well, no, I'm just saying you had them happen to you. Like, did a robber come in and put something in your mouth? I don't think so.
No, but here's the thing, and I understand where everybody's coming from. You know, especially around the holidays, it's hard because people want to bring you treats, right?
Yeah.
And our office,
Her office,
delivered to the house a gift box from Milk Bar in New York City.
not vegan.
Not
and
vegan.
In fact, the person who's her best friend at work
Was trying to switch it out so that I could get
something vegan,
but it didn't work out. And so the box still came to the house. And I should have just taken the whole box immediately, didn't even open it up, and I should have just taken it next door to the neighbor's house and said, Merry Christmas. But I didn't because I was working and she was working, and so we opened the box up and we put the stuff in the refrigerator that had to be refrigerated, and then, and then of course I'm sitting there in the evening and I haven't had, just kind of a heavy work day and not feeling so great about myself. And what did I do? I went right for one of those cookies.
Yeah.
I went right for it, and I thought, this is going to be the thing that breaks me. But let me tell you what. Just like everything else
nasty.
that way, it was not.
Too long didn't read nasty. You didn't like it at all.
I didn't like it at all. And it's so weird, because usually I really, really like that stuff. And I didn't like it at all. It felt so processed. Like you would think that a famous bakery like that
but like the list of ingredients, I read them and it read like some sort of fast food chemical list too. But
so I was really shocked because they have, they're supposed to be this big woo-woo bakery thing, and it just tasted like, mass-produced junk food.
And so
it wasn't pleasant at all.
No, I mean you did have some of it, but you've not gone crazy. We ended up with Thanksgiving, and I think we talked about this last week as we went out to 2 Thanksgivings. We went to the one at Fiction Kitchen that we go to our pre-Thanksgiving every year. And we went to Triangle Vegetarian Fest vegan Thanksgiving.
Yeah. That was a surprise trip for us, but we're really glad we did it.
And I think all in all, we're doing pretty good. I think right now it's like, I feel like I'm waking up a little bit from being kind of out of it and getting some stuff done and trying to catch up.
I'm still making us oatmeal every morning.
Yep. And I needed to reshoot some photos. So I made in class, actually in 2 different classes, I made whole cauliflower that I use some vegan yogurt with poultry seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, nutritional yeast. I think that's all of it. If there could be more. I mix that together and then cover that, the whole outside of the cauliflower. And in the bottom, I do some water, bouillon cubes, and some more poultry seasoning and nutritional yeast. So it kind of makes a little au jus. It's thinner, so it's not like really a gravy. And then I made
it's really good,
and it looks
like a turkey. Like it looks like a little turkey.
This one, and I took a picture of it 2 nights ago. I don't know.
Can you pull them up on there?
Where are they? Oh, I might be able to. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find it in my sent mail. Because here we go. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? And I didn't even try to make
turkey.
it look like that. It looks like 2 little turkey legs or something, and mushroom gravy, and all of that. So we've been eating. We had 2 dinners of this. So, but see, it's some smoked paprika on top. But when you cut it, it's white on the inside, obviously. let's see. There's some oat milk. Those of you in the fabulous over 40s. There's my rainbow mustard dill confetti veggies.
That's really good too.
And that's mushroom gravy, and that's just with oat milk. You you don't have to add any flour if you make homemade oat milk because it'll thicken naturally. Mm-hmm. And there's my faux pie that I've told you guys about. Like, I've never made it this way except for the picture. So usually I just have a big pile of these sauteed apples and date sauce. So everything in here is SOS free. Mm-hmm. But I did it for the 40s class that way, but I used miso in some of it, and I love miso date caramel. So there's that. But so I shot those the other night. So we've been eating that. We haven't even eaten the pie. So the pie, and why I keep doing this when I say pie. So the crust is literally, you try to get a roundish sweet potato, bake it, and then I cut it with a little axe. And then I take, like, you could do a masher or something else. You don't want to mash it too much, but like I think I used a spurtle. Will you hand me one of? It's like a long wooden spatula. You don't have to have I just happen to have a spurtle. This works really well, and smash it around. So the skin of the potato helps hold it together. So basically you're just smushing it down and then for the one I made before, I just put piles of sauteed apple. Mm-hmm. And you could use different fruits. You could use, I don't know, cherries. You could use different things, different seasons. You could use a white sweet potato or a purple sweet potato instead of an orange one. But I thought it was kind of cool because in the 40s group, they don't do any flowers. Mm-hmm. And this would be a way. And you can actually cut a wedge because the potato skin holds it together. Mm-hmm. And
it's really good.
It's super fun. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, and it's like so treaty feeling, but it's actually completely compliant.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Monique says, no wonder you guys are losing so much weight. You don't have time to eat with all those meetings.
It's true. All I've had today is a bowl of oatmeal. You had
leftover
Indian stuff.
Yeah. And speaking of that, has anybody...
Have it for dinner tonight.
No, we might. I can eat Indian food 17 times a day.
It doesn't bother me. I like that stuff so much. I'd just like chow down on it right now.
And Susan says, I miss going on a walk with you guys, and we will try to get better about that.
Oh, yeah. I actually haven't been walking that much because I've had some stuff going on, but we walked today with Faith, our friend Faith. I walked halfway because I had Max. So he's 11, 12 years old, and now he's getting to where if he goes for a longer walk, he has a little limp. So we're trying to let that heal a little bit. And so I haven't really been like taking the big 3-mile walk with him. We went about 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
And then you guys went the full 3?
Yeah. And so, but we should do that again. It's we've been super discombobulated, which I know is no excuse because literally when we do those walks, we give you 0 notice. We just turn on the thing. And we're trying to get some spaces so we can do some treadmill and bike stuff too. So that will be coming in the new year if it doesn't come before then.
Definitely we'll probably have like maybe a daily, 30 minutes where we treadmill or bike or vice versa.
And the thing is, for my mental health, I like to get outside as much as I can, but then there's sometimes it's rainy or whatever, and that's why we got the treadmill really for summer when it's too hot for me to go out and walk, because that's a real struggle for me more than feeling that way in the winter, but it needs to happen. Electric Carabella says, I'm going to attempt a crock pot roast dinner, but with McDougall golden gravy and mushrooms in place of the meat and beef gravy. Yeah, I think that will
that'll
work
work really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the potatoes and the carrots are going to be so yummy in there.
That's a really great idea. You'll have to let us know how it turns out. Yeah, and I see a couple of pierogies.
You know, this is the thing, though. I never used to eat pierogies at my grandmother's house. I ate them at other relatives' house, but I never ate them at my grandmother's house because she always made them with onion.
And see, I used to love pierogies. So
I was, you know, and my grandmother on my mother's side was not like my grandmother on my father's side, where she made everybody whatever they liked and you had your special thing. My grandmother was like, if you don't like it, you don't have to eat it. Right? She was like, I'm not making you special pierogies. If you don't want it, if you don't want to eat it, then you're not going to eat it. I'm not making you special pierogies. But she would make me special. She would make me special macaroni salad. And she would leave the onions out of the macaroni. She would take one little bowl and make some without onion in it. And then the big bowl had all the onions. So I only got that one bowl unless I wanted to pick all the onions out of the other one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and I lived in between Williamsburg and Greenpoint before it was cool in New York, evidently. But there was a large Polish population there. And I ate so many pierogies, sauerkraut pierogies,
Ugh.
potato, mushroom pierogies.
See, I like the potato. I used to like the potato and cheese ones. Like one.
We could totally make a veganized version. So, like, here's the thing. So, if you get wonton wrappers, most wonton wrappers don't have any oil in them. So you can look and find some. And you can make, I've done a class where I made the wrappers. So because I made gluten-free version and I used the pasta roller, you know, so I made them kind of like lasagna noodles you would. And it's very tedious and takes a while, but it was delightful. And I see that someone had an Italian grandmother made fresh ravioli and Pantone on the holidays, which would be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can do that. Oh, Jeremy says that gray kielbasa.
Yes, Jeremy, I think you're from Toledo, aren't you? Because like you try to explain to people about the gray kielbasa, right? Nobody's there. When people think of kielbasa, they think of Hickory Farms or somebody's like smoked kielbasa. That is not the kielbasa that we grew up on. We grew up with fresh from the butcher kielbasa. That was like.
And just remember over here, I can veganize anything, but I made some andouille, and then I made a kielbasa spice blend for another book. So I've done it with wheat gluten, which I'm not really doing. So that was before I got diagnosed with an issue. Though I can have some gluten now, I still try to avoid wheat gluten as much as possible. But you remember, was it last year or the year before that I did bean, grain, and veggie sausages that were gluten-free? So I could use one of those recipes in a Polish spice one. Yeah. It's not going to be gray. Well, I might be able to make it gray if I use lentils and black beans and maybe some forbidden rice or something.
It sounds like a challenge, and we'll have to get Jeremy to taste test it with us.
Okay.
Yeah, my grandmother lived off of LaGrange Street in Toledo in the Polish neighborhood. So it was very interesting, like when we would go there for like Christmas and stuff, and everything would have the Polish flags and they'd be all decorated and have the lights, and it was just very nice.
And Claudia says latkes Friday night. Oh, I love latkes. They're yummy. And Jeremy's grandmother made ambrosia salad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Ohio ambrosia kind of the same thing as Southern ambrosia with like the citrus and marshmallow fluff and all of that craziness?
Yeah, that's another thing that I never really ate much because it looked like too healthy.
Oh, and Karen's saying winter solstice is the shortest day, but today is the shortest evening.
Ah. Okay.
I guess I don't think about that. Winter solstice morning will be shorter than today. Interesting.
Okay.
And Apple says it's pretty much constantly gray in Vancouver, not a lot of sunlight. It can be hard for a lot of people. And sometimes I think just walking or making yourself a special herbal tea. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just doing something to kind of honor that part of you that wants to curl up and go back to bed. And maybe some days, if you can, curl up and just read a little while before you get up, if you're able to. That helps me sometimes. I'm still trying to find my next book, though. Like, I was really into it, and I, like, ate up a 3-book series in, like, 2 weeks. And then I see some, and I'm like, not into it yet. Jazz says, my family is having a Swedish smorgasbord. I'm not doing the cooking, so I don't know what will be included other than Swedish meatballs. Hopefully they'll get you some veggie stuff in there. Yeah, I feel you, Apple. The distinction between evening and morning is breaking my brain. I feel like I'm like, I've never thought about it that way. What brand, what should you order?
That was the...
Oh, so we got the Cuisinart one, and it's pretty good. There is a Vitamix immersion blender.
It's expensive.
It's like $150, and I opted not to because I tend to not use it that often. With that said, now that I've said that, something will come up and I will be using it constantly for a while. So I use it in spurts. And I had one that I got a while back, maybe 6 years ago, and it was working okay, but the little cup where I use the mini food processor is really looking nasty and scratched up, and I don't know, it's just making me uncomfortable. Aw, you're so sweet. Oh, yeah.
Oh. They have a Grinch Christmas party.
Ooh,
that
a
sounds
Grinch
fun.
Christmas party sounds super fun. And I have a Grinch hoodie. We'll see that before the month's out.
Oh, yeah.
It even has a hood with the little Grinch hair.
Yeah.
It's
super soft and warm.
It actually feels like a stuffed animal on the inside. That's why I bought it. And I was thinking that would be fun to take a walk in the neighborhood. Carrie says, I use my Instant Pot for rice, but I also often need it to make another part of the dinner. Absolutely. And I have more than one Instant Pot. So like, I think some of the sales, gosh, I turned it up and now I've got to turn it down.
Yeah, I was just thinking, my face is getting a little red or something.
Well, I turned it from 1 to 2 because
y'all, this thing works really good. It'll heat you up.
Yeah, so this is great. I have more than one Instant Pot. And if you can get the duos, and don't forget, if you guys have some buying questions, I can look up some links and stuff too, like we did on Black Friday. But in the beginning, I had a 6-quart and a 3-quart. And I would make rice in the 3-quart, and I would make a stew in the 6-quart. But I have found that with some of the, like the Duo Plus or the Duo Evo or some of those, they don't all make rice. I have a Duo Evo Plus and a Pro. Those work great, as well as the regular Duo for making rice. There was a period of time that some of them ran a little hot. So if you get a burn notice and your rice hasn't cooked, you can just leave the lid on. It'll turn off, and then see what happens. Oh, knitting, crocheting, and cross stitch. That's a good way to get cozy for the winter for sure. Oh, I love this. You called your counseling clinic fully woven. And I love woven fabric. It's so beautiful. We went to the Renaissance Fair last month. Yeah, last month.
Yeah, it was last month.
And there was a weaver there, and it was just so cool. It was just beautiful to think about. Lori says, I've been thinking about your shortage of pickle juice for your pickles. I looked in my grandmother's recipe book, and there are many recipes for brine. I am totally interested.
Yes, because
please email it to us.
Because this next batch of pickles we got, the juice is not as good.
We got slices, like the lengthwise slices instead of just the pickles. I don't know if that just meant, if that's why it seems a little more watery. Claudia says, my favorite way to cook rice is still the pasta method, and that's a great way to do it too. Marilyn has a I can't.
Zojirushi,
Thank
Zojirushi, something
But
like
I haven't used it much since getting Instant Pots. Like, it was a big thing to me when I gave away my original rice cooker. Like, that was like my seal of approval. And then over the pandemic, when I was cleaning out some stuff, I found the VitaClay, which they had sent me a long time ago. And I do love the way it made the rice, but like, there's a big melting hole. So something is probably going to catch on fire. And also, it's not for sale. This model is not for sale anymore.
Yeah, so.
And we've used it for
10 years?
No, 4 years. We didn't pull it out till over the pandemic.
Oh, that's true.
So it's like 3 or 4 years.
But we've used it almost daily.
Yeah, and it makes great rice.
But when she went to make rice the other day, there was steam coming out the front, and then like where the numbers and stuff were was all had like, what do you call it? Lost for word. The wetness inside the dial, condensation.
Yeah.
Had condensation inside there. It looked really scary. So.
Yeah, and that's a good sign that the electronics are going to be compromised. Mm-hmm. And Hydra says, no, it wouldn't. I would more likely contribute to any existing chaos.
I can see that.
She would take me thrifting is what she would do. Let's buy some new stuff. Oh, yeah, pottery is just, pottery is delicious.
And we have a lot of local pottery, potters in this area. They actually have, like twice a year now or once a year, they do an actual like pottery thing over a weekend where you get a map and you go to all the different potters places and they have their stuff for their studios, and you can see their studios and then buy stuff from them while you're there.
And because we're in an area so close, I pick up a lot of stuff at thrift stores too. Sometimes some of the charity shops cost a little bit more than some of the thrift shops. And like, when you're looking at stuff to photograph versus stuff to use all the time, it's different. So Cheryl's always like, why are you getting these things that looks like a second grader made them? I'm like, it's going to be a beautiful photograph. And she just looks at me, and I show her the photograph. She's like, oh my God.
Yeah, because I'm always like, it looks like a second grader made that for their
colors
parents.
And textures. And yeah, it's like heavy enough that you could kill somebody with it. Mm-hmm. And it's a tiny little thing, but it works perfectly. Mm-hmm. Deborah says, I was scraping every drop of a tomato sauce out of the can with my Tovolo as I thought, oh my God, I've turned into Kathy Hester.
Man, she will make me crazy. She'll ask me to put something away, right? And then the next thing.
And she leaves like 4 teaspoons or tablespoons.
And then she'll look in there and you didn't get that all out of there. And here she comes with that spatula. And I'm like, come on.
But you know what? I have my big spatulas over here, my little spatulas over here. I'm spatula rich.
You are spatula rich.
And I feel good about that. I do cook with caraway seeds some. There are a couple of recipes. I'm not positive, but I think my red cabbage with apples has caraway seeds.
I think so.
And then I did a thing, I think it's in the gluten-free vegan cookbook for your Instant Pot, where I made cabbage noodles, and I just sliced them kind of like noodles, and then cooked mushrooms and onions and caraway seeds. It was a very Slavic spice dish. I do like caraway seeds. And Kelly says it's 32 degrees here in Syracuse and 69 in her house. Oh, Amanda stumbled into the slide from an email you sent. Very entertaining. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. I agree with Cheryl. More trips and fewer grocery bags. Oh, you're getting a rice cooker for Christmas.
Nice.
Yes. I like this. 68 in my house, says Karen. Oh, hello. And I don't know, vinegar in the water for rice or for something else? So you have And Gina says, I was struggling to the point of having anxiety with all the stuff from my father, mother, and brother in my house and garage. My doctor said to me, who does it honor just sitting there?
That's a good idea too, yeah.
And I think that's really great because I think, too, what makes me feel better is as we're giving away stuff. So we have a thing called Bull City Shares here in Durham. It's kind of like the Buy Nothing group. And people in there, like there are a couple of community fridges and pantries that people can just walk up to and get food. And so sometimes people, even if they notice that like Whole Foods has dropped off potatoes and celery, they will go and cook the potatoes and then put them in the fridge. Like it just feels really nice. Yeah,
it's a nice
just like
community.
any group. It frustrates Cheryl sometimes because people will say they're going to pick up stuff and they don't.
Oh, that makes me crazy. Don't beg me for something and then me say okay, and then you say I'm coming and then never show up, because that, like, when I put that stuff on there, it's because I want it gone now, like 5 minutes ago, not 2 days from now when it's convenient for you to come get it.
Yeah, but most of the time, like, so we had a great experience with the person who came and picked up things. So we got rid of some more stuff, and we even had some extra things. So we put them down, and when they came to the house, we're like, hey, do you want some of this other stuff too? And they're like, yeah, you know what? How about we just take all of it off your hands, and anything we don't use, we put in a community fridge. And I was like, that makes me more happy than you can ever imagine. And someone says, I ate rich food at my son's on Thanksgiving, got a stomach ache the next day, not doing that on Christmas. And I think sometimes it is easy to be tempted. And then so far, any treaty foods, most treaty foods.
We've been disappointed in most of it.
It hasn't been worth the effort. So like when I wasn't eating gluten, so sometimes, and it's not like, I'm not celiac, but a joint will swell. I get inflammation and it can hurt. So even during that, I'd be like, well, let me have this. And I was like, this isn't any better than the gluten-free version, so I don't care. And it's been like that with some of the other things we've tried this year. Yeah, and Peggy, in your house, in your mouth,
Yep,
absolutely. It should have gotten given away to begin with.
Yep, it should have just went right next door. It should never even came in the front door.
And Nancy says, love to cook brown rice in the Instant Pot. Yep, it's easy. Oh, Ellen from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. What a lovely name. It's a Philly suburb and close to Allentown and Reading. It's also 40 degrees outside, which means that I'm cold, wrapped up in my fuzzy faux fur throw, as you should be.
Nice.
Yeah, and Serena was just saying,
Yeah, I knew.
Absolutely.
I totally knew what I was. I didn't like mindlessly go grab it or anything. I just was very I'm like, they're here. I'm going to try one. I want to know what all the noise is about, because everybody at work was posting messages at work in our team stuff saying, oh my God, these are amazing. These are the best cookies that we've ever gotten, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I have to try. I have to find out how amazing these are. The ex-foodie in me is just like, gotta try these New York bakery cookies, and so disappointed.
I think for me, there are a couple of places when I want to have a treat, I feel fine about having it, because again, our 90%, the foods I'm about to talk about, are not starch solution compliant. But like Pure Soul now has a pumpkin cinnamon roll, and it's not ginormous. It's just a little one, and we split that, and it was delightful.
And it was vegan. It just had some oil in it.
Yeah. And then there's also a place in Greensboro that has delightful cakes, so that we could go and buy a slice of a choice of 2 vegan cakes there if we want to have a birthday cake. Or if not, that's fine too. But so instead of us going, well, I want to get Cheryl a birthday cake. No. I will take Cheryl, and we can split a slice of cake, and we're fine. But like Mona said, and I think this is valid too, you have to know yourself. She says she would have kept trying until she liked it. And I think so far we've been pretty discerning, even with kind of these ups and downs that we've gone through the past couple of months. I don't feel like we've really just tunneled into any kind of like bad food comfort, like routine.
We haven't sat and like mindlessly ate something. Pretty much everything that we've done like that, we've done with intention. We've looked at each other and said, I'm going to do this. And, you know, your mileage may vary is what we tell each other.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's like, I don't think it's going to be good, but go for it, you know.
But it's the same thing too. Like if you know yourself and you know that that's not something that's good for you, I would never suggest you do it. I have lots of friends that are in AA. I would never offer them a cocktail. What I always have at my house if I have a party is I have a cocktail and an equivalent mocktail. And I've done that for 30 years. And I will never stop because people need to be able to feel like they have that choice and it works for them. And I think same for you. Monique said, you know, lots of people are really supporting you, Mona. And Video says, I once ordered a black bean burger and was served a real burger and figured it out with a bite. Luckily, that hasn't happened to me, but that's happened to you. Pre-McDougal, like what got Cheryl to switch over to being vegan was Impossible Burgers and them being at Burger King. And that's why
there was one by the office and it made it real easy to just go grab, you know, an Impossible Whopper for lunch.
And while that's not a whole food plant-based way of eating or anything like that, that's not what she was going for at the moment. I feel like those things are great for
it just got me it got me
over the hump.
It got me to say, yeah, I can do without the meat.
Yeah.
And then after about, what, 5 or 6 months of eating those a lot, like then I got to where I was just like, I really don't want that. I'd rather have a bean burger.
Yeah.
And so my taste started to change.
But
and that was even before doing the starch solution. So
oh, no, that was 2019.
That was 2019.
It was
wasn't
5 years ago.
It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but I guess I've been eating pretty decent vegan-wise.
And Lydia said in 2018 we had a house fire. I'm so sorry to hear about that. Lost practically everything. When we rebuilt, moved back, I wanted to be a minimalist, but so hard not to accumulate stuff.
It is.
And one of the things we need to learn is that it's great to appreciate something. Look at this. This is so cool. It's not the same thing as, look at this. We need this in our house. You know? And so I think that's something. Dilla says it's not very good. I had peach pie, was sick for 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is we've noticed there are a couple of things that we have had since July that were kind of greasy. Like the Indian buffet, while it has oil, it hasn't upset our stomach yet. But we're also being kind of selective of what we're eating.
We did go to a place that we used to like to go to before we did the starch solution in Greensboro. It's a vegan restaurant, and everything there is vegan, and it's Asian, and so, you know, usually that's a thumbs up, but it
was nasty.
I don't know how we like enjoyed that before, because there was so much oil in that. Like, it just, that's all you tasted. Like, it was like they used the oil for flavor, because that was all you could taste in that dish. And it was really disappointing. Like, I guess that's the key word tonight, is like all these other foods are just disappointing now.
It's not even just that you go, you have eaten something that you shouldn't eat. It just actually was gross. And I was shocked, and I didn't eat that much of it. And we came home, and I made some other food. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I don't remember that place as being super oily. Either we just ordered a couple things we hadn't ordered before.
We've had those dishes before.
Yeah, I thought we did. Oh, hi, buddy. I don't know if you could hear it. There was a little meow.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just like we keep ending up being amazed, and And it's funny because every time we go somewhere and we have something, and then we get in the car and we're both disappointed and amazed that that was someplace that we used to like to go to all the time.
Well, it's true. And it was expensive. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'd rather, and I made a delightful stir fry. Actually, I made it in class. It was I made kind of like a home style tofu in the last slow cooker class. That was really good. Electric Carabella says we stopped at the Tesla dealer yesterday and they had toy Cybertruck filled with Hershey's Kisses. I was cramming them into my mouth and then suddenly I'm like, what the heck am I doing?
Yep.
Yeah. And I think, okay, come here. He wants to come. You want to come up?
You know, it's so easy to do something like that. And, you know, I feel very grateful that I have never been like one to like go crazy on all sweets, but there are certain sweets that I do have trouble with. One of them is those Cadbury little eggs that are like pastel colors that are like, they have like chocolate in them and they're candy coated on the outside. I can't control myself around those, so they just can't come into the house at all. And the other thing that I can't control myself is if somebody was to put fudge stripe cookies in front of me. I don't know why, but I cannot control myself. I can control myself around
we don't bring them in the house.
I can control myself around every other kind of cookie, but I cannot control myself around those.
Fergus is a mess. And I think that's the thing too. And I think sometimes sometimes I feel like 5% when we go off plan out of our 10 to 15%, I'm like solid. I feel good about it. And then sometimes another 5%, maybe it's 10% I feel good about. 5% we're like experimenting. And most of the time when we go too off book, we're just like, yeah, no, that was not delightful.
Yeah.
And because it costs so much money. It costs so much money to go out.
I mean, around here, you can't go out to some place that has vegan food for less than $50, except for the Indian buffet.
Yeah, the Indian buffet is like $17.
It's a bargain.
And there's going to be a whole table of the plant pod people there, and you get to kind of hang out with a lot of good people.
Yeah.
It's been really nice. Serenity says, Did you make the mushroom soup with dried mushrooms? Could you? Yes, you totally could. I would reconstitute the dried mushrooms in general. In specific, like soy curls, if I was doing a slow cooker, I might just add extra water and let it all happen. If you wanted it sliced, though, you'd still want to reconstitute them and slice them unless they were dried slices. Oh, excuse me. Good Lord.
What are you doing?
It was the biggest jump. Oh, him. You guys.
He's just the cutest little muffin.
He's just really like.
Look at those toe beans. Those toe beans. You need your nails trimmed. You need your nails trimmed. You need your nails trimmed.
But he was asking so nicely to come up. Let's see. Could you eat oatmeal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Absolutely. And in fact, so like Mary's Mini, you pick the same starch and you eat it every day for 10 days, 3 meals a day. Mm-hmm. But let's say you did oatmeal. So you could have steel cut oat risotto. You could have rolled oats with fruit, or you could have a savory thing. So you get to change things around. Hello, oh my gosh, you're being so cute. You haven't been this cute and sweet in a while.
You must want one of his little things.
Oh, we'll see. He's like, love me. Monique loves Indian food as well. It's just so delicious. Mm-hmm. Ooh, Jamaican plantain stew. That sounds really good. And it's a Dr. Bernard recipe.
That sounds really good.
You know, it would be really easy to make a compliant filling for a pierogi. On the starch solution,
Let's not put our butt to everybody.
He looked very. Are you going to scratch now? No, you're
No.
going to clean. This is why I sanitize the counters all the time before I start cooking, so don't worry. Let's see what we got. Apple said, I used to make pierogi stuffed with colcannon and Irish-Polish fusion. I love that. Because the food stuffs go really well together.
Why are you being such a sweet little muffin?
Do you know we have heated blankets on and you want
You want a heated blanket?
You want a heated blanket on you? He's like, maybe. What cat just sits there when you do that? Tofurkey makes a kielbasa. Yes, absolutely they do. It's not fully oil free. Yeah, it's okay for 10%. I usually avoid, I love the Tofurkey brand, but just because the wheat gluten can affect me so badly, and now that I have this swelling already here, like because of my fatty liver, I haven't really taken ibuprofen in several years, and I've been taking it. Today I didn't take it, I don't think, but I've been taking it once or twice a day the past 3 or 4 days.
So we had that, I tried that Tofurkey kielbasa back.
You didn't like it.
I did not like it, because here's the thing, like the kielbasa that Jeremy and I are talking about, that's great, it's fresh kielbasa. And so I just can't explain it. It's totally different tasting than all the smoked kielbasa that everybody seems to think is kielbasa. Because to me, kielbasa is gray and it's fresh. And the flavor profile is completely different than the smoked kielbasa. To me, smoked kielbasa is just like sausage for a hot dog bun.
Well, and the thing is,
fresh kielbasa, you cut it up and you eat it with ketchup and horseradish.
And we can make similar things. Oh my gosh, you were just like seriously, he just wants under the chin. Oh, you're so cute.
You are being awful lovey-dovey today.
Just picked us to live with us.
I'm glad you picked us.
I know. Kathy says they're expecting a heat wave in Wisconsin later this week. Maybe the first time I hike in December. I think this will be followed by snow on the weekend.
Oh yeah.
My. Well, it was like 70 degrees for 3 days, and it was even in the 60s at night. So that night that we did the windows, we had the house open, like all the doors open and windows open over there for 2 days. It was crazy for that to be in December. Real says, hopefully you'll have potatoes and turnips smashed together at your Swedish gathering. That's or some rutabagas, right? Some Swedes.
Oh, we still got that huge rutabaga.
I know, I got to do that. I think I've made chili rellenos.
Yes, you did.
I have one in the slow cooker. It's not. It doesn't have a coating, so it's not like the fried chili rellenos, but I do. I have. Ooh, and Ellen's reading My Name is Barbara and loving it, and will be Dr. Greger's How Not to Age. Monique has the Vitamix immersion blender and absolutely loves it. You can do anything with it. I bet you can. You can read that one.
Who is the most powerful potato? Darth Tater. Oh, God.
You are going on the dad jokes now.
Yes, oh my goodness.
Kathy says I pop popcorn with 1/8 of a cup of water and 1/4 teaspoon salt. My husband is the main user. Has tried many spices like garlic, onion powder, cinnamon, turmeric, chili. At Aldi's, they have some spray turmeric and spray ginger, meaning it's a liquid. They also had a spray curry powder, which I didn't read. I read those two and I didn't read the curry, and there's oil in the curry spray. But I thought that could be really interesting to spray that on and add, like with the turmeric, and maybe sprinkle it with ginger, like ginger powder, make kind of like golden popcorn. I don't know if it'll work or not. Hey, Miss Raven, it's good to see you here. I have a non-kitchen question, which is always welcome. With all the extra walking you two are doing, do either of you use a wearable fitness tracker? My doc wants me to get one with a sleep tracker and a heart rate monitor. I have Cheryl's hand-me-down Apple Watch.
You got an Apple Watch 7. I have an Apple Watch 9. But we do use Apple phones, so that kind of makes sense. If you have an Apple phone, that you would get an Apple Watch, because it all just kind of works together nicely and everything kind of works. If you are a Android user, Samsung does have their, if you use Samsung phones, Samsung does have their own watch. I'm not sure about what sensors and stuff it has on it, but I do know that there are some Fitbits now that have heart rate monitors on them. I think, I want to say,
he's going for the box.
Right now, this time of the year is a good time to look at like one of those watches, because like if you wanted an Apple Watch, you could get an earlier version for less of a price. So like I know on Black Friday they had some like 7s or 6s or something like that for like half the normal price, maybe even less than that. They were like $179 or something like that.
And Raven, if you want to email me and ask, my friend Faith has some sort of fancy
She
watch.
has a Garmin.
Oh, okay, so you know what it is? Okay, never mind. Yeah. I just hear fancy watch, rah, 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 rah. So
the Garmin is the equivalent of the Apple Ultra, basically. It's the big. So
I'm busy like figuring out food processors.
And for just like for walking and keeping track of your steps, and for, you know, heart rate monitor and things like that, I think just the basic Apple Watch is fine for that. I think you might even be able to get an SE. I don't know if it has the heart rate monitor on it or not. You would need to check that. There's one that's kind of a pared down version of the Apple Watch. But as long as it says it has the features that you want on it and it's a good price, go for it.
And you can get used stuff too. I don't know if some of those might also be in the Amazon warehouse, but I always check to see if anything's in Amazon warehouse.
And also, if you go on the Apple site, if you're interested in any Apple products, Apple, if you go to like where it lists the different things, like in the bottom, you know how they always have like customer service, blah, 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 and all that. You can look down there and they'll be refurbished. And click on the refurbished, and it'll go into this other site where it's all Apple refurbished stuff. And I have never had a problem with anything refurbished by Apple ever. And we've had a lot of Apple refurbished stuff. We
really have. We've had a lot of computers and stuff too. Mona says, I'm making a vegan ham for Christmas, and the glaze will have some brown sugar in it. Is there a substitute? So Mona is SOFAS free, which means no sugar, oil, or salt, flour, alcohol, and the like. I have dates, date powder, and date sugar, any of those. And Serenity says I would use a date syrup glaze. I think a date syrup glaze would be easy, because what's going to happen with the date sugar is it's not going to melt all the way. So if you want something to have like a crispy kind of feel to it, that would be fine. Date powder I would use over date sugar, just because it's going to be a finer grind, but I think date paste or date syrup. But if you have dates, what I would do is soak them with some water, use the least amount of water you can to blend them together, and then you can keep it in the fridge. The Date Lady has really thick date paste. Like, it almost just seems like a giant date. So it's a better value than I expected it to be. So that's what I would use. And Linda, welcome. We're glad to have you here hanging out with us. And Mona, if you don't have date syrup is a little more processed. I use all the things, but a date paste is really easy to make. And if you just don't want to be too bothered, you can throw dates and some water. Obviously, pit the dates. And even if they say they're pitted, tear them in half, because some of them are going to have pits. And then just cook it all day, and then just puree that, and it'll be really easy. Ooh, yeah, apple pomegranate molasses would be really good. So that's just cooked down pomegranate juice. Yeah, it tastes like, so the conversation's never had pomegranate molasses. What does it taste like? Like, it's sweet, bright. It's a little bit tart, but not a lot. It's not super tart, but it gives you a combination of flavors. Serenity says, I go to a whole food plant-based potluck and most of the food is swimming in oil. Really?
That's surprising.
I usually can only eat what I bring, and my dishes are always best and gone. I bet they are.
And just like I said before, if you're taking a dish anywhere, anytime, always make sure you get yours first because chances are everybody else is going to eat it.
Yeah, well, and at the Plant-Based Pot in Chapel Hill, Elizabeth's group, they have a potluck every month, and everybody says what's in there. And I think there was a tiny bit of sesame oil, but everyone made sure you knew. Like it was, in one of the dishes, but everything else was completely compliant and always. So that's interesting. And Apple, I love the way you're explaining this. This is exactly how I would. Dates sweet and deep, kind of a little bit darker flavor, and pomegranate is sweet and really bright, or like a lighter flavor is how I kind of put that. If you have pomegranate juice, you can just cook it down on the stove if you have some. If you don't, it's easy enough to get a small bottle of pomegranate molasses. If you have a Middle Eastern store, that would probably be the cheapest place for you to get it. You can get it online. Yep, and Lydia says the same thing. Thanks to Beyond and Impossible Burgers, my husband was able to become vegan.
Yep.
My main problem is chips, no control at all. That would be me. That would definitely be me, and those do not come in the house.
Nope.
At all.
Not any kind of chip whatsoever cannot come in this house because she'll do fine for like the first day that they're there, and then the next day that she just takes the whole bag. So
yeah,
they're
and
not
then I'll
allowed
start
here.
eating them for meals.
Yeah.
So I'll make nachos with
she'll find any excuse she can that why these I'm going to just make nachos.
Chili with chips, but it becomes a thing that all I'm trying to do is eat all the chips. So for sure. Yeah, and a video says many years ago I used to splurge on dark chocolate at department stores and just saw the cravings revived. And I think that's really, it's just really important to see what things affect you and what things don't affect you.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what our conversations are a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Oh, Judy says Reese's Pieces. And a lot of people feel you on the Cadbury
Those things are
ads.
addictive. Like they're so addictive. And then they made the dark chocolate ones, so I felt I was doing better because I was having the dark chocolate ones. But geez, they're just as addictive as the other ones.
Yeah. Savory oats with mushrooms and spinach. Yum. No, I've never heard of Eliza's vegan restaurant. I don't know that we really go to Florence, South Carolina much. Do we drive through it when we go to see your parents? I have no concept of geography.
We might go through Florence. I think we go through Florence. I think that's that one exit we stop at. Oh, no, that's Darlington. But it's not far from Florence. Darlington and Florence are close
that would
together.
be interesting. We could see if we could go there sometime. Yeah, and this is very interesting too. Deborah said I had an enormous craving for French fries, so I got an order. And I couldn't even get through a quarter of the order. It was so greasy and gross. And it's very interesting how your taste buds change and how all that works. Like what used to be super interesting is no longer palatable at all.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of the good change,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's talking about Fergus. He wants the blanket or a treat.
Yeah.
He's just
looking a little chilly over there.
He is a little bit. He's on his round scratching post.
He's addicted
bed.
to those round scratching pads that look like a little bowl kind of thing.
And they go down like that. So he sits in the middle and he's just very happy. And then when he feels like it's time, he'll tear it up. He keeps them a couple months. And Apple says, my senior cat's pretty much claimed my heating pad. She asked me to turn it on when she needs it. That is adorable.
Isn't it funny how animals figure that stuff out? Like Max asks us to turn the fireplace on, but sometimes he'll ask in the middle of the summer and we're just like, no.
He loves to watch. It's a gas fireplace, so it does have some flames, and he just watches it, and it really calms him down because he's a little bit anxious sometimes. So we also, for the den that we're trying to, we got to get up here first. But then when we go down there and get that room, we even got a faux fireplace TV stand so that hopefully he'll enjoy watching that too, but we'll
Yeah.
see. Oh, Raw Chef Yelin. I can't talk it off. Raw Chef Yin is here, and she is
Hello.
awesome.
It's good to see you.
It's 8:34 a.m. in Malaysia. Oh,
Wow.
that's awesome. It's always good to see you. And I know we just talked about the bundle. So we, well, I don't even know if we're supposed to be talking about this, but anyhow, some bundle sometime somewhere. The end. Chef
Some bundle that happens every
Chef
year.
Yen may be involved. That's awesome. Yeah, everybody's loving the Darth Tater. And Cat, yeah, everybody's like, Fergus. Diana says, I have the Apple Watch SE and has heart rate monitor and works great for workouts. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've been seeing some deals on those the past few weeks, so.
Ooh, collard greens are magical, my friend. Deborah was gifted 5 bunches of collard greens. Any ideas on cooking them? So
we would Southern style those in a heartbeat.
A lot of times what I'll do is I'll clean them. If the stems are very big, you can cut them out. The stems are totally edible. So you can just cut off the big gnarly looking part, roll them up really tight and chiffonade them. So make really thin, like noodle-like parts with them, and you can cut those up some if you want to. You can saute them with, saute some onions, water saute, obviously, a little bit of garlic. You could put the greens in, but you could, I've done them Asian style for you with a little bit of.
Oh, yeah, I like them that way.
She wouldn't
That's how
eat
I
them
started
at all.
eating them.
So I put a little bit of soy sauce. I'd put a little bit of rice vinegar.
I'll eat them anyway now, but that used to be the only way I would eat them.
So I do something similar, and instead of that, I'll use some liquid smoke. I'll use some bouillon cubes and cook it down a little bit more. But another thing that's great, since you have so many collards, you could also go ahead and clean and cut them up. You could lightly blanch them and put them in the freezer, so you don't have to eat 5 bunches right now if that's a hardship for you. I would cut up one of the bunches. I'd take the stems out, and then I'd cut it up and mince it and keep it in a thing, and I'd take a handful, put in every soup, stew, tofu scramble, anything that you're eating, salad, throw a handful of those on. It's just a really easy way to get in greens. That's how I got her worked up to eating regular old collards. So,
that sounds good.
but you can also make collard wraps. So you could steam them, and then you could wrap things up, or make put what you would put in vegan cabbage rolls in there or something like that too. Make soup would work great. Ellen wants to see your watch band. It looks light blue on the screen.
It's actually gray and white. So it's funny that it looks like.
Do you want to show
the camera?
Yeah.
It's,
you need to, no, but it's very far away.
Oh, I was going to use this one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what camera she's trying to use.
It's actually gray and white.
It's still a little darker.
Yeah. It's the Nike Sport Loop, but it's just Velcro's on. And then that's the watch face. Well,
okay, and Serenity's saying date paste is a pound of dates with a cup of water. And I just eyeball it. Purple. Oh, Lisa, we love these casuals chats too. Thanks for hanging out with us.
yeah.
Tess is trying to decide if I want to make the one cookie that's from my childhood. They're called snowball cookies or Mexican wedding cookies. Vegan butter instead of real butter.
My grandmother used to make those.
Yeah, I think everyone had those.
Had a version of those, yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't made them, but that doesn't mean I can't make them or there might already be an oil-free recipe with them too. But will you remind me when we get off of here, and I'll do some research, because we can make those for sure. Dilla has a Garmin 235, not too expensive, works for fitness stuff. Chef Lynn says, yeah, every time I bring my own raw oil-free food to an event, everyone wants to eat it, although it's supposed to be for me, because the rest of the vegan food is cooked and has oil.
Right.
Yes. And that's why we say when you're bringing something to even just to your family or just mixed eating people, they are going to eat your food. So make sure to get yours first, and then they can have some. Yeah, butter and powdered sugar, like you can, I've made a type of powdered sugar that was sugar-free. I used monk fruit and cornstarch because that's what, it's sugar and cornstarch. That's what's in powdered sugar. So you could use tapioca starch or arrowroot or something like that. It would be harder though if you're okay with it being a little crunchy. You probably could take date sugar and arrowroot, put it in a small blender and blend it until it's as tiny as it can be, or a spice grinder, and do that. The butter is what's going to be hard. You're going to have to put some sort of puree in there, and what's going to happen, those snowball cookies are crunchy, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And without the butter, they're not going to be crunchy. Because what I would think of doing is either using, like applesauce is going to keep it moist. I would end up taking that idea and flavor profile and making it more into healthy truffle.
That's
right?
a good idea, yeah.
And so then you could have some of that sweetness on the outside, or cookie dough is probably what I do. But I'll see if I can find any recipes. Oh, Chef Ian says, I used to have a Garmin. The charger broke. And Apple says to TS, I feel with recreating treat favorites. I've got my go-to creations that remind me of my favorite cookies, and I'm really big on that, obviously. And I always forget, but there's a Japanese word for it, and it's about a food that invokes a memory of something, right? So it's like food nostalgia, and a lot of things that I do are food. My jackfruit barbecue is food nostalgia. It's not barbecue that I grew up with, but it hits that same spot. So that's really interesting. It is a mug from the Vegan Potter. It was my first mug from the Vegan Potter that I got when I spoke at the Veg Fest in Massachusetts. And Real says, still using my Apple Watch, though I didn't do the latest upgrade because I didn't want it to crash. I have to use voiceover on it as well, so I didn't know if it could manage that lift. That's a great point, because even when, if there's certain things that I have to do, I won't upgrade operating systems or other things too. What was the mug brand that Cheryl was showing? Oh, it's from the Monsters Inc. It says Monster Crew.
It's actually a Ray Dunn mug.
But it's Disney characters. You guys see that from Monsters Inc.? There you go. We always have silly mugs.
It's from Home Goods at the Ray Dunn line. The Ray Dunn Disney line.
Yeah, my snowball cookies were soft and kind of crumbly like shortbread. That is the oil, but I'll see if I can find anything. You could use nut butter for cookies, absolutely. In general, most of the people watching are probably avoiding nuts. However, that would be one step closer to a whole food plant-based cookie if you used nut butter instead of using vegan butter. So depending on where you are on the spectrum of vegan, whole food, plant-based, sofas, all the spectrum, you could totally use nut butter. Maybe we'll do that.
Try to make some cookies or something.
Yeah.
I would like to put in a request for the holidays. I would like to have Teff brownies with walnuts.
Okay.
Not a lot of walnuts, more like walnut dust, since we're not doing that many nuts.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I do a lot of times. So like, it's because I'm cheap, but I'll take our pecan halves and I'll put them in the little immersion blender food processor part, and I'll just make the little dust out of them. So you get some of the taste, but you get a lot less of the weight attachment ingredient. Do I have a recipe for date syrup? I do. And let me see if I can find it on here. If I can, I'll give it to you real quick. And I gave you guys a special recipe who were on my mailing list. Date syrup. Oh, that's not where I meant to be.
It's like,
there we go. So what I did is basically I made a thinner date paste and I strained it. It's pretty much, it looks, oh, here we go. There's a picture. I can show you a picture of it.
so what book is it from?
It's one of the one of the Instant Pot books. But let me see, did I put it in here? I'm seeing this come up a bunch. Because sometimes I'll add a sticker. That was the caramel hummus. No, it is not in there. It may take, I'm looking through like years of my documents, so sometimes.
There's a picture, so it does exist. We just
I
gotta
know
find
it exists. See if that gets us any closer. Let me see if I can find the book. Here, you read some questions.
Okay.
The date paste is easy, and someone already said they did a cup of dates.
Okay,
No,
so
a cup of water with a pound of dates.
Yeah, so she is looking for that. What other questions do you have?
Ooh.
Do you have anything specifically for me? That's, not food. Food making, because I'm not good at the food making.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Ultimate Vegan Cookbook for your Instant Pot and gluten-free vegan cooking in your Instant Pot. I think it's going to be in the staples chapter, I believe, of one of them. There's my corn butter. There's my vegan hot dogs, my oil-free cheese. Instant Pot date syrup. 2 cups of water and 2 cups of dates. I feel like I'm reading you a storybook. Gather around the fire, children. Add the water and the dates to your Instant Pot. Cook on high pressure for 20 minutes. Or put it on the stove and cook it till it's soft and falls apart. Or put it in your slow cooker and cook it till it's soft and falls apart. Place a strainer over a large bowl and pour the mixture in. Use a potato masher and carefully mash the liquid out of the date pieces.
Did you say let the pressure release naturally?
No, but it doesn't really matter. You can let it release naturally. It just adds a little extra cooking time, and it's lazy. And so I like the lazy way, but you can do it however you want. It's not as important as it seems. Store in the fridge. It'll last for about 2 weeks. It could last a little bit longer, but you can freeze it. And so then also after you strain it out, then you reduce it. You reduce it by half. So basically you're taking all the fiber and stuff out, which is why some people don't like date syrup versus date paste. Date paste is a whole food.
Do you reduce it right inside the Instant Pot?
What did I say? Rinse out the stainless steel liner and add the liquid back into it. Place the liner in your electric pressure cooker. Turn to saute on high, and without the lid on, let the date syrup reduce by half. This will take about 15 minutes. It probably takes longer. And I think date paste is here. So this is the date syrup I made. And it looks, and it's messy. It's messy for sure. Do I have date paste in here?
So one anti-venom says, I joined late and was wondering what the matching ponchos were. I love a good heated blanket. Yeah, so they are from the Sunbeam folks, sent these to us. They're on the go, cordless throw. They can be a throw or they can be a poncho like we are wearing them. They have little buttons that you can snap to make it more like a poncho, and it's heated by a battery pack.
Well, not a battery pack, a rechargeable battery.
Well,
so we don't have batteries.
They look like those packs that you use to like charge your phone up and stuff.
Yeah, but I just want you're not putting actual batteries. It's
No,
something you
it's
plug in to
rechargeable. It's definitely
recharge.
rechargeable. Mine's almost dead. I have 1 bar left on it.
I think I
The
have
battery does get a little warm, but they say that that's okay, that's expected. So nothing to freak out about. But
It's not as hot as my Apple laptop.
it comes with the only thing that's weird to me is it comes with a charger that plugs in the wall. Like, it looks like a Nintendo Switch charger, actually. Looks just like a Nintendo Switch charger. But it plugs in the wall, and then you charge it up from that. And they do say not to use any other charger with it besides the one that it came with. So,
And that makes sense, yeah.
but I was like, it would be so much more convenient if it just had like USB or something that I could plug into the thing on the couch and just let it charge while I'm sitting there, you know?
Yeah.
But this is fine.
And
this
it's
is
been
better
pretty
to
warm. We just have T-shirts on underneath
Yeah.
it, so I was
She
thinking,
got too hot. She had to turn hers down.
Yeah, I keep going between 1 and 2 out of 4.
Yeah, I had mine on 3 most of the time. I turned it down to 2, I think.
I think that's too
But-
hot. Okay, let's see what we got here. So I don't really have a date paste recipe in there, but like it's easy. Just use less water. Like date syrup is way more work because you're getting all the pulp out, and dates are hard, so you kind of really have to like work at it in the strainer, and then you have to reduce the water. So, Sandra says, I use the almond pulp for making milk in my Nutri-Milk and recipes for baked oatmeal and any others. Yes, and you can also dry that in the dehydrator like the Wearable or whatever fancy dehydrator you have and grind it into almond flour. Aw, thanks, Monique. You're awesome to hang out with, too. Let me move that so everybody can see. So I said for Cheryl, what can't you clean at your house with the ladybug?
So I think what I won't be able to clean with the ladybug easily would be the Wearable, because I have to be careful about that condensation getting into the electronic parts. I thought it was going to be easier to do it, but we'll see. I may be able to just put some tape over that part where that fan is and then just go around it. I just want to keep the condensation from getting in there. The other thing that I cannot clean, which I was a little disappointed about, but I could try it, but I'm not going to try it, is the outside of my car. I was kind of hoping I could steam clean my car.
Of course you were.
But, you know.
I barely get my car. It would be great. You can test it on my car.
I'm going to try it on that roof where you got those stains, and I'm going to see if I can get it.
Sap tree things, and so wherever I move my car, it's a magnet for it. So you could try it on that, because my car is, they don't even make, I have a Prius C. How old is my car now?
It's from 2012. So it's 12 years old?
Yeah, me and my little 12-year-old car. And it still doesn't have, it has 63,000 miles on it, or is it even less than that? It doesn't have a lot.
It's just barely over 60,000 miles.
So, but because of that, obviously it's paid for. And we can try it on there and see what happens. Ooh, Apple, I need a cordless heated Snuggly so I can wear my cat as I go about my day. She'd love that. I saw someone on TikTok that has some like baby thing they wrapped around, and it was fleece, and you put your cat in there, and it was like a plus clinger cat, and so if she tried to get the cat out, the cat was like no. So she walks around all day with her cat, which is really cute. And Catitude says, thanks, I use date syrup in my tea all the time. I'm going to try to make it myself. Yeah, and it's not hard. It just it takes a little patience.
Oh yeah, we got hard fall sensors in the Apple Watches too. And I think that's kind of cool, especially getting older. And especially like if I go ride my bike by myself or something, if I was to fall,
it could tell me.
It could send you a message. And if I don't respond to it, it can also call the emergency services.
Well, that's good. I've heard of people having that, and they've gone like to Disney on a roller coaster, and it's called emergency services for them about falling. So just be aware. And Tia says, ooh, I think the steamer will destroy the clear coat layer.
And that
is if the layer is still intact, which it may not be
on her car. I don't think it
garage.
is. I don't think it is on hers. I think that it's not, and it'll be interesting. I'm going to give it a try. Maybe use it on the lowest setting and
we'll see what happens.
But
yeah, we're definitely going to, like, we can do the tile and the grout, and we can do the tubs. And the tubs are kind of like 70s plastic style all-in-ones, unfortunately.
We can do those. And the windows were dreamy to do. Those were super
easy. And they look, you can tell a difference. It feels like,
yeah.
So it did really well. Oh, and Apple says, I'm familiar with that TikTok person. My cat's just like her cat. That's awesome. Fergus is like, well, you see every once in a while he comes up and he's like, attention now. And then he gets his love and he's like, I'm done now. You may leave. Like he's asleep on his little bed and he's happy. But when he wants attention, he does. And he's pretty vocal about it. One anti-venom. Oh no, Apple, it's the new version of the as seen on TV button. That's really funny. What's a go-to quick oil-free dressing? Hey, Alicia, it's awesome to see you here, of course. Sometimes I use something called aquafaba, which sounds so fancy. So you know when you get a can of chickpeas and the water in it? You save it, and it acts kind of like an egg. It's bean water. Aquafaba is just bean water in Latin that some fancy person decided. So I
mostly used from chickpeas, yeah?
Chickpeas are white beans, but if you have some of that, then that's really good because it thickens. And if you put that in a blender with a little bit of balsamic vinegar, herbs of your choice, you could put a little balsamic, a little mustard in there, maybe a little dill. You really could go anywhere with this, but we could even put a little caraway in there or something, go a little Slavic dressing, or you could make kind of like, I don't think I've made a French dressing, but you could take like some crushed tomatoes.
You know what I want.
A little bit, what?
I want Thousand Island.
I've made Thousand Island for you. Also, non-dairy yogurt is great for a base. So if you're like, that bean water is just too far for me to go right now. Get some, I usually use Kite Hill almond yogurt. Doesn't have any coconut or oils in it for those of you who are doing whole food plant-based no oil. Homemade soy yogurt is perfect, and it's usually pretty thick. And you could just go ahead and blend in some tomato paste. What else would I do? A little bit of lemon, a little bit of balsamic probably. I would add the pickle part or the relish after, so it doesn't get pureed in there and would be chunky like a Thousand Island. Because that's what, typically you can make a vegan one with vegan mayo, right, and ketchup. Yeah. So we just have to think a little bit out of the box. But one thing, Alicia, that works really great on salads are flavored balsamic vinegars, because they actually have some sweetness to them. And we carry those and we eat that on potatoes and salads and different things like that. So tell me if you have a particular flavor. I have a really awesome ranch, which I still haven't gotten up on the blog, but I use yogurt as a base, and then I add dill, I add some apple cider vinegar and a few things, and it's really easy to make, and it's just delicious. So yogurt's a great base for any creamy dressing. So if you wanted to do a creamy Italian, you could put some basil, oregano, a little bit of rosemary in there. And if you had like a red wine vinegar, you could use it. You could use a balsamic. I always have apple cider vinegar on hand, and I would salt and pepper to taste. If you don't use salt, you can always use my plain salt substitute, which is 1 tablespoon onion powder, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of ground celery seed mixed together. And Alicia, what videos are you working on? I want to know. Alicia has some amazing stuff. She's another person from my video cohort with Doc Rock, so you guys should check her out. Oh, I don't know the McDougall 3-2-1 dressing. Oh, 3 tablespoons vinegar, 2 tablespoons mustard, and 1 of maple. That sounds delicious too, like a honey, a maple mustard dressing. Sounds good. Ooh, pico and dark balsamic with some nooch. That sounds delicious too. Oh, that's awesome. You are most welcome. And Apple says the 3-2-1 is from Jane Esselstein. I would not like to miscredit. What else we got? And Video says, when you finish the mustard, do you throw it out or put water in it and cook the last part? I did have a little jar spatula. It's true, but I don't know where it is. I don't know. I think I need to take everything out of the store and reorganize it. It's hidden somewhere, and I would scrape every little bit out. But you could just take what I could do. You could do is like, actually, if you had a little bit of Dijon, you could put those ingredients for the dressing, shake it up, and use it right from there. Okay, guys.
Looks like we're caught up.
And we've been here a very long time. We've been here, what, over 2 hours.
And I haven't had any dinner yet.
We haven't eaten yet. But we wanted to hang out with you first. And Tia says, take care of your voice. It's because I was live for 2 hours before we came here.
Yeah.
And it just always happens. But I did get extra sleep last night. I slept 9 whole hours. So I'm hoping this week I can sleep a little extra and catch up on a few small things. We do have class. Those of you who are in Kathy's Cooking Club on Saturday is our annual gift class. And we're going to make like soups and meals in jars, dry, that you can give away or save for yourself. Oh, yeah, some mustards are so good. I understand that. And ciao to you, Apple. Thanks for hanging out as always. And Diana says, I add water to my empty mustard jar and make a dressing. Oh, Catitude, I wish I didn't get here so late. Make sure if you're not already on the mailing list, you're on the mailing list. If you guys would go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, you'll get notices when we go live. Sometimes we plan ahead far.
Sometimes we don't.
And sometimes I'm like, let's just go live. So we're always go live on YouTube. So that's a good thing to do. Yeah. And I also sometimes will go into the community part and ask you guys for help on deciding what to do or what to make. So you get to be a part of that too. Aww. Yeah, we'll see if we can get to the fireside chats. We will definitely have more cozy holiday chats. And again, if there's a specific holiday you want us to make sure to celebrate with you, either leave it down in the comments or email me at kathyhester@gmail.com. And if we can at all, we'll at least come on for a little while and hang out with you. Because I know holidays are hard and there's 80 bazillion holidays this month. So I know I don't know them all. And if you have a holiday another time that's not in December, you can also ask us to just come and hang out. So that works too. All right, guys. Oh, yay. It was so good to see you. It was so good to see everybody.
Yep.
You guys have a good night. And tomorrow I'm on Chef AJ's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come hang out with us there. I wrote it down because I'm going to make golden gravy mix, beefy bouillon, and oat parmesan, which are all 3 dry mixes that are great for inexpensive gifts. Beefy bouillon, maybe not so much because you need mushroom powder, but it's delightful. I'm gonna be refilling my beefy bouillon, and I'll have all the recipes will be available. They're on healthyslowcooking.com now if you want to, but come hang out. And then Thursday, Lisa Rice is gonna be on too. But big hugs, much coziness. Go snuggle up in something warm, unless you're in Tucson and it's 80 degrees. And then
get yourself a blankie.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you guys really soon.
Bye.